Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to the Inner Gaze. Today is Friday, the 28th of September, and this is going to be one of my experimental videos. Usually I talk about healing and different modalities and sort of how to go within and seek out your own truth and wisdom. And sometimes I talk about ascension energies and what's going on as we are all going through this path collectively. But today, I really want to talk about what I've just downloaded. When I say downloaded, this is a term. Sometimes these terms might come to you. During the spiritual path and process of ascension, a lot of times we use terms that are kind of related to a computer. A download is kind of like an instant understanding, if you will. And sometimes it comes out of nowhere, like a spontaneous understanding. Sometimes it can come through meditation. Other times it can just come from finding something online, being led down a path of information, and then all of a sudden something's ringing true and you're connecting dots, and that's a spontaneous download. So this morning I was starting to think this is going to get a little quantum and kind of metaphysics and a little scientific, but I'm starting to piece together what I think happens as a dreamer. Okay, so we are all creative divine beings. We are all source. We are all part of the original source consciousness, the consciousness that created all things. Okay, that means we create all things. And it really leads me down some deep questions about what is truly occurring when we enter a dream state, what is truly occurring when we enter a shamanic state, a journey, or what is truly occurring when we enter an imaginative state, when we go into our imagination or a meditation, when we start seeing visuals of things. Sorry, I've got like an itch. I started watching a lot of videos, not a lot, just like a few, on astral projection, which I find very fascinating. And when someone astral projects, and what that means is physically leaving the body to go into the astral realm, which is kind of like, it's another dimension, it's another realm of reality. It is a reality unto itself, but it is not like this physical world. It is also not quite the spirit realm. The astral realm is kind of this in between where people in physical bodies can create in the astral. It's like before something manifests into the physical, I believe it is created as a potentiality in the astral realm. It's also a meeting ground for shamans to actually receive and communicate information from one another. And it's said that, like, my cat, it's actually said that before the Western world created technology, and or not the Western world, but before technology was created and seeded and different ways of communicating across worlds was available, the shamans were still able to recognize one another from various islands and still connect and exchange information because they were meeting through their technology, which is in the astral realms, through meditation and through spirit guides and all that. So really, the astral realm is it's a place where information can be exchanged, but it's not a place like we believe places to be. So if you're tracking, we're creative beings. That means that we are constantly creating our realities, and everything is happening through your experience right now is the 0 point experience. So you're optimally manifesting in your current place of now. So think of like you and your body in this current place of now as like the artist's room, okay? And we create at any given time with our thought forms and our emotion, okay? So that's how they say you can like manifest things, or law of attraction, like whatever state you're in, you're going to be drawing experiences in that match that vibration or frequency. But similarly to drawing in sort of like negative frequencies, or like if your emotion is negative, then you might have some shitty day. We create our desires at all given time, so that once we have a thought or a really, really strong desire, like a strong thought plus emotion, it goes into the astral. It is already created, okay? So we are constantly creating simultaneous lives, simultaneous existence, simultaneous storylines. And this is going to get really complex. But you as an individual are creating millions and billions of timelines at any given point, given your thought forms and thought patterns. So a lot of times when we go into dream state, we are playing out some of those timelines in order to close them. Okay? So bear with me, because the dream state is something that we don't all talk about. Everyone's like, oh, it's just a dream. You're just kind of working through stuff in your mental capacity. And that's true. That is true. You're working through stuff in a mental capacity. But what I'm downloading is that it is another dimension. It's another realm that we are unconsciously co-creating, and it's through our dream state that we are playing out these scenarios. And at this point in our ascension, of humanity's ascension, we are closing out timelines, because ultimately we are creative beings, and we want all of our conscious reality to be in the 0 point field so that we can be creating instantaneously into our physical realm. We've done a lot of unconscious co-creation in the astral realm, and when you blow that up on a global scale, we've got a lot of timelines that are existing in the astral, that when you have a repeated timeline that is basically a repetitive thought and emotion is seated on a global scale or on an individual scale, then it manifests physically. If it's a consistent enough emotion and pattern, this manifests into a physical lifetime or a physical event, okay? So as we're co-creating, it could stay in the astral. Any thought form that we create, anything in our imagination, anything in our head, that goes up into the astral. If it becomes a pattern, a distinct pattern, it becomes a life, okay? A life that we lived, which becomes a lot more ingrained into our experience. So as we're experiencing in the now, in this body, we are simultaneously experiencing unconscious co-creation in the astral and simultaneous physical manifestations of those creations. So that's why when we go into past lives, there really is no past, present, or future. We are constantly creating on either a conscious or non-conscious level. That's why we need to master our thoughts and our thinking, because every single thought is a thing, which is really wild. Every single thought is a thing. And whether or not we experience it in our physical reality has to do with how consistent and strong these thoughts and things are on an individual level and on a collective level and in a family level, okay? So this is kind of major stuff, because the creator, the ultimate creator, the one, created all these realities, which then create all these realities, which then create all these realities. And we are connected to each other's creations as well. And that is how we learn and how we grow. But this is what we're doing. I mean, it's pretty major what we're doing. We're constantly creating. But it's once we realize that we're creators and we master our ability to consciously create, we can then manifest the things that we want into our reality at any given point. But right now, we're at a point where society is sort of shaped in a way where fears and blockages are present, and systems kind of keep us locked in a place where we are stuck in those fears and the feelings of limitation, which is not true. It's absolutely not true. We're beyond limitless. We are source creative beings, and we are here to create heaven on earth. We are here to bring in worlds. We have the capacity to create worlds. Like, that is what we really are. And it's when we start to realize this that the fear and the dark and the control and the manipulation that happens in this society will no longer prevail, and we're getting there. Okay, so a lot was downloaded. So there's a lot of metaphysics going on. So think about the astral realm as this sort of like painter's room, the artist's room. This is where a lot of test pilots go out before they are brought down into the physical realm. The astral is a higher density. It's like the fourth dimension, okay? And what happens in the astral can be conscious. So like I was saying, when I was looking up astral projection, there's a guy, I forgot his name. He's got a lot of followers. He talks about 4 simple steps of astral projection, and I tried it. And you basically go into a deep meditation and you start working your theta, your left brain, or your right brain. I should know this. I'm a hypnotherapist. The right side of your brain is the creative side. It's the one that sees the images. Like when we do dream, it's almost like we're actually seeing images in a movie. Not all of us, most of us see images. That's the right side of the brain. When you enter a state of theta, that's when you can start seeing images. So he wants to work that muscle, and he starts closing his eyes and imagining himself going throughout the room and feeling the walls and actually getting sensation in his imagination. So not only just like giving himself a visual tour of the room, but also picking things up, smelling things, feeling the air, that, etc. Okay. Then he focuses on the body, and he sets the intention to feel himself falling asleep. And that means deeply letting the body sink into a state of vibration. So when we fall asleep, our body sort of starts to buzz a little bit. And if you've ever, like, if your leg's fallen asleep or your foot's fallen asleep, you kind of get those tingles because your foot kind of falls like it just feels like a buzzing, and that's what happens to your entire body. But when you're conscious and you're feeling that, you can sense, like, you feel the buzzing all over your body. So it gets to the point where the buzzing gets very, very strong, and some people hear it in their ears. And at that point, that's when you can consciously will yourself to lift up out of your body and get up in your astral body and walk around. I have not been able to do this consciously in a meditative state, but here's what I realized this morning. I'm doing it all the time in my dream state. I've been waking up with buzzing in my heart chakra, and I think this morning it dawned on me that that's a signal that I've been leaving my body to do some interdimensional work every single night. Maybe not every single night. Maybe some nights I'm just playing out some of my fears and closing timelines of my own. But when I wake up with this buzzing, I'm starting to realize that It's because I've left my body in an astral body. It's not like I died. I'm still part of my body. I'm still connected to it, but I've got another layer to my body that's an interdimensional being that can travel pretty easily and does it very naturally. And it's a natural part of who we are. And that body is doing work. And I've had some really crazy dreams that just some of them have actually materialized into the present, into a manifestation. So I know that I actually have met some friends in the astral before having an interaction with them that played out very, very similarly in the physical. Some fights that have happened in my dream state, like a day or two prior to them happening in the physical. So there's definitely a lot to our dream state that we don't really consider. And there's a lot to our reality that we don't really consider because we are so stuck in the present and what's happening to us. But nothing is happening to us. We're creating every single thing. And when we think about these grander moments, these grander patterns that are playing out into the physical, like Me Too, like World War II, like apartheid and enslavement and genocide and all those things, those are patterns, those are thought patterns, those are wounds on a collective level that continue to play out in patterns because time does not exist. It's cyclical. And in order to get out of that cycle, one must need to become conscious and aware of the power that they have to create realities and on a collective level be able to do that. And that is the evolution of the human mind. That is the evolution of the human, to be a conscious co-creator. That's where we're ending up. So I'm very curious if anyone here has had lucid dreams or interdimensional experiences like astral travel or astral projection, or conscious co-creation in dream state, or have any thoughts about it, because it's super interesting. And I think there's so many aspects of humanity that just are instantly swept under the rug, like what is a dream, like what is the imagination, what is death. And a lot of people have a thought, there's a lot of thoughts around death thanks to religion and the powers that be that created those constructs. But how often have you woken up and your parents are just saying, yeah, it was just a dream, don't worry about it? Well, maybe it wasn't just a dream. Maybe it's not just your imagination. Maybe that's a real space that we need to master and work with. Anyway, that was my download this morning. I hope you guys have a really great day, and I'm going to try to make more videos as soon as I get more downloads. And please, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and like and share with your friends. Thank you. Bye.